Hello friends! So we're going to start with the story of the wolf and the 7 goslings. Once upon a time, there was a mother goose and she lived in a forest. And in the forest, she had a house, and in the house she had 7 goslings. These were her children, and her children loved her and she loved them. Now, they were all starting to be like, "Oh, I'm hungry, Mom, I'm hungry." And the mom was like, okay, I am going to go to the store and I'm going to go get you something to eat, okay? She's like, but it's really important that you listen to what I'm about to say, because what I have to say right now is really, really important. So they all got together and they had their ears for listening, and they were listening, and she told them, when I go to the store, I'll be gone. It's very, very important that you don't answer the door, because there's a wolf that roams around. And if you open the door for the wolf, he will come in, he'll wreck the house. And not only that, but he will eat you up, skin, bones, and all. So don't let the wolf in the house. Now the 7 goslings, they heard that, and they listened to their mom, and they loved their mom, and their mom knew that the children would listen to her. So she left the house, confident that her children were listening to her. And who do you think was watching when the mother goose left the house? If you guessed the big wolf, the big bad wolf, then yep, you're right, because he was standing outside. He was in the woods, and he was like underneath, a bunch of brush and trees, and he was like looking, and he's like, oh, there's the mother goose leaving. So he's decided, I'm going to go and I'm going to try to trick the little goslings. And so that's what he tried to do. So he walked up to the house, kind of creeping around, hoping nobody's going to see him. And then he knocks on the door, and he says, in, his wolf voice, "Little children, this is your mother. I'm here back from the store, and I have lots of goodies for you, so go ahead and open the door, and I'll give you all your goodies when you let me in." Well, the goslings, they heard that voice, and they were not buying that. They knew there was something wrong there. So what they did was, the littlest gosling got up close to the door, and he screamed, "You're not our mom. Our mom has a sweet, delicate voice, and your voice sounds mean and it sounds harsh. You must not be our mom. You must be the wolf, and we are not going to let you in." Now, the wolf was kind of irritated because he knew his trickery didn't work. So he went back to the store. He went to the store, and he decided to go get some cough drops. And he ate up lots of cough drops. He piled his mouth full of cough drops, and his cheeks were like really big, right? So he had like, real big cheeks, and he had all these cough drops in there. And after about an hour, he actually had enough cough drops to make his voice sound smooth and soft. And so he went back to the house with his smooth and soft voice, and he said, "Little children, this is your mother. I have brought lots of goodies for you. Open the door and let me in so I can go give them to you." Now, the little goslings, the voice, it kind of sounded like their mom's voice, right? But there was a problem. When the knocking at the door happened, they saw a big black paw. And they knew that their mom did not have a big black paw. So the littlest gosling got up real close to the door, and he said, "You're not our mom. Our mom doesn't have big black paws. The wolf has big black paws. You must be the wolf, and we are not going to let you in." Well, the wolf was kind of irritated because he knew his trickery hadn't worked again. So he decided to go back into town, and he went to the local paint store. And he asked the painter, he said, "Hey, painter, I'm here, and I'm going to a costume ball tonight. And for my costume, I need to have my paws painted white. So could you paint my paws white, and I'll pay you, and then I'll go about my business." Well, the painter knew the wolf was a liar. So he was like, "Nah, I'm not going to do that today. No thanks. You'll have to find somebody else, because I don't have any white paint, and I don't feel like painting your paws. So yeah, you'll have to ask somebody else." Well, the the wolf knew that the painter was just not wanting to do it, so he's like, if you don't paint my paws right now, I'm going to go and eat you up. Well, the painter thought it was probably going to be in his best interest to go ahead and paint the wolf's paws, so he did, and he left, and the wolf had his white paws, and of course he went back to the house with the little goslings in it, and he knocked on the door with his white paws, and he had his delicate soft voice, and he said, little children, this is your mother. Let me in. I have lots of goodies for you, and when you open the door and let me in, I can give them to you. Now the little goslings, they heard the delicate voice, and they didn't see any black paws, so they decided to open the door. And when they did, they were terrified at what they saw. They saw a big wolf with big eyes, and you get drool all over his mouth. And he had big claws, and he was just really scary. He had bad breath. He was really, really bad, right? And he roared, and he was laughing, and he said, now I get to eat you all up. Well, one by one, he went and he gobbled up the goslings. He picked each one up, and with a gulp, swallowed them up whole. Now, one gosling got away. He went under the bed. And when the wolf left, the little gosling looked out from underneath the bed, saw that he was gone, ran over to the window, and looked out and saw that the wolf was taking a nap. He went to go take a nap under the tree. And all of a sudden, the mother goose came back. And she came and she saw her house. It was a big mess. And she saw most of her children gone, except for the one little gosling. And she asked, what happened? What happened here? And the little gosling told his mom about how the wolf had tricked them and had fooled them. And the mother goose went over to the window, because the little gosling said, over there, he's taking a nap under the tree. And the mother goose noticed that the wolf's belly was moving around. And the mother goose knew what that meant. That meant that her children were still alive and they were just inside the wolf's belly. So she knew exactly what to do, but she had to go fast. So she went and she got some scissors, and she got a sewing needle and thread, and she went over to the wolf, and she cut open his belly, because he was sleeping. He was a deep sleep. And she cut open his belly, and there were her goslings. And they popped outside of the wolf, and they were all happy, and they were a little bit slimy, because it was kind of wet in there, and it smelled really, really bad in there, but they were okay. And the wolf was still sleeping. He didn't know what was going on. And because of what the wolf had done, the mother goose went and she gathered some stones, and she put some stones inside of his belly, and then she sewed his belly back up. And he was still sleeping, and he was sound asleep, because it was a very deep sleep. And so what happened was, the mother goose carried her kids home, her goslings home, and they went home, and they were sitting around, and they fixed up with their house, of course, because it was all messed up. So they went and they fixed it up, they fixed the furniture, they re-straightened the pictures on the walls, and they began to sing and dance, and they were happy again. And the wolf, he woke up from his nap. All he knew is that when he woke up, he had a really, really, really bad tummy ache. A really bad tummy ache. And so what happened was, he went off into the wilderness with his really bad tummy ache, and he never ate another gosling again. The end.